everyone, today we're going to continue reviewing adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. I'm going to skip to the first mixed number problem because those ones are a little more challenging. Remember that your first step is to convert both of these denominators to a common denominator. In this case, we can use twelfths. That's the least common multiple for both 3 and 4. As you can see from this list, 12 is the smallest multiple that 3 and 4 have in common. So I'm going to convert 4 and 2/3. Whoops, that's wrong. To 4 and 8/12. From that, I'm going to subtract 2 and 3/12. Now this is a good example for us to look at first because as you can see, I'm not going to need to borrow in order to subtract these. So in this case, instead of spending time converting these to improper fractions, I can just subtract it in two parts. 4 minus 2 gives me 2. And 8/12 minus 3/12. Remember, you only subtract your numerators and the denominator will remain the same. That gives me 5/12. So 4 and 8/12 minus 2 and 3/12 is 2 and 5/12. Now, of course, that won't work when we're doing a problem where we need to borrow. Okay, looking at our second example, again, I see that 1/2 is larger than 1/4. So we won't need to borrow for this example either. You guys can work on this one on your own. Here we have a problem where I think we will need to go through the longer process of converting these mixed numbers to improper fractions. Let's begin by figuring out the least common multiple for 8 and 6. I'm thinking it's going to be 24. Yes, 24 is the smallest multiple that they both have in common. So I'm going to convert 4 and 3/8 to 4 and 9 out of 24. Then I'm going to convert 2 and 5/6 to 2 and 20/24. Okay, so here I see that I am indeed going to have to convert these to improper fractions because I can't subtract 9 minus 20 without getting a negative number. Remember that the process for converting these to improper fractions is to multiply and then add. So I'm going to multiply 24 times 4 and then add 9. This is work that I can't do easily in my head, so I'm just going to come over to the side here and do my multiplication. 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more gives me 9, so that's 96, plus 9 more gives me 105. So this is going to be in improper fraction form, 105 over 24 minus, let's convert this fraction to an improper fraction. So 24 times 2, I can double that in my head. That gives me 48. 48 plus 20 more gives me 68. So that will be 68 over 24, and now I can subtract. 105 minus 68. Remember, when we're subtracting these fractions, we just subtract the numerators and leave the denominators alone. Okay, so that gets me to 37 out of 24. Last step. I've got to convert this back to a mixed number. So 37 out of 24, I can break that up into 24 24ths. This is one whole. Let's see, 37 minus 24. Okay. Plus 13 out of 24. So in mixed number form, that's one whole and 13 out of 24. Okay, that's a long process. I know that was a lot. Let's see if we can break it down into a step-by-step process for the next problem. Okay, for this next problem, we have a fill-in-the-blank option. 3/7 minus, I'm going to put n for numerator here, n for numerator over 6. So this is like our variable or our mystery number that we're trying to figure out. We want to know what the value of n is. And it's going to equal 4 out of 42 when we're done doing that subtraction. Okay, let's think about what our first step will be. Our first step will be to find a common denominator for 7 and 6. And the clue to that is here. We can see that 42 is going to be our common denominator. So we're going to convert 3/7 to some number out of 42. That's going to be step 2. I'm just going to list the steps for you and then let you do it on your own. Okay. Then step 3 is going to be convert or change n over 6 to some number out of 42. Lastly, rewrite your expression and see what the value of n could be. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about that one. That one's maybe a little bit tricky. For this next question, I want to draw your attention to one particular part that's an important clue. Let's read the question. Lucy wasn't allowed to have any pets, so she collected stuffed animals instead. She had 36 animals total. 3/12 of them were bears, and 4/6 of them were dogs. What fraction of the animals were either dogs or bears? That's an important phrase to look at there. What fraction of the animals were either dogs or bears? So in order to solve this question, we're going to have to figure out what 3/12 plus 4/6 is. That together will tell us the fraction of 36 that were either dogs or bears. Step 1 is going to be identify your least common multiple for 12 and 6. Step 2 is convert 4/6 to its equivalent fraction using your least common multiple. And then step 3 is subtract. The next 2 questions are word problems also, and I'm going to let you work on those on your own. Let me know if you have any questions about these.